Hey everybody. Today I wanted to switch up gears because this channel is also about learning and giving you the tools to run with things. So I got the pleasure of interviewing Ginny Delaitre. Ginny is the founder of UX Marketing, a groundbreaking methodology that combines user experience with modern marketing. As the founder and CEO of VDS Digital Agency and a UX Marketing and the UX Marketing Institute, she is setting new standards for how brands integrate user journeys into their marketing strategies. From military real estate to clothing brands to healthcare, Ginny helps B2B and B2C customers implement UX-driven strategies that drives conversation. The reason that I'm bringing Ginny on is because I want to give you the tools to brand yourself and market yourself. These are going to be great tools if you're going to start your own business or start your own company. Branding and marketing is how you tell your users who you are, what you stand for, and to give you a stylized identifier so that they can quickly identify that thing that you have done with your logo or with your name or those types of things. So I thought it was a good idea to bring Ginny in to give us a little bit of a marketing 101, if you could say that. Anyways, we'll take it away.
Hey everybody! Today I have Ginny Delaitre. Is that how I pronounce it?
Delaitre.
Delaitre. Ginny Delaitre, who is coming from us from a marketing background. How about you introduce yourself?
I'm Ginny. So I own a marketing agency. So I'm CEO and founder of VDS Digital Agency, and I do marketing essentially. So I'm here to talk about it.
Perfect. And my audience is definitely a variety of people. I'm trying to push kind of learning how to build your own brands, how to build your own businesses, because I think that's one of the things we lack around the world is small business owners, entrepreneurs trying to build something from the ground up because knowledge has been hard to get at for years and years. So we'll go into our first question. Why don't we explain what UX marketing is and how it's different from traditional marketing?
Sure. So UX marketing is something I sort of invented. So I say invented because I found the name and I was just like, oh, it is a really cool name. So I'm going to start using it. So basically, it's really simple. It's how do we bring UX, which is user experience, with marketing? And what does it mean? So basically, marketing, when you hear about marketing, is mostly, oh, it's advertising, click, 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 promotion, discounts. And I'm just like, well, marketing, it's more an experience, actually. It's the experience before you become a customer, before you start using the product, or before you start listening a podcast, how you discover that podcast, how you discover this, I don't know, small artisan, or if I have a small business, I'm doing like candles, how people discover me. So I mean, you smile about it, but a lot of people do candles and it's really fun. So, it's like, it's very important. What is the experience? So that's what UX marketing is what is the user journey before, before becoming a customer, and how do we build it?
Definitely makes sense. Especially to me, I do have UX development experience. So I'm coming from a programmer background with UX heavily driving my career. So user centric, everything is the way the world should have worked to begin with, to be honest with you. And marketing itself, like, I still remember jingles growing up. Like that's effective marketing, right? So just giving the users that little insight to say, hey, this is yours too, instead of just saying this is the company's, gives a lot to people, I think. How do human brands stay relevant in today's day and age with AI?
Yeah, it's very important because right now everything is about automation and marketing is not. Well, I will say especially for marketing because people don't want to use money or don't have time for marketing. So they was like, oh, I'm going to just take an AI and AI is going to do everything. Oh, my social media post, everything. So I think we need to be very careful because for any brand, if you want, right now, there are so many automation that people sort of notice it, and even sometimes see automation where there is not. They're like, oh no, you sound like a robot, I'm not answering you. So it's very difficult for brand to be out there, because how do I use automation and AI, which is faster and easier and you gain so much time, but how do you stay human, because people want to talk with you, they don't want to talk to a robot. So that's where I think storytelling is very important. When you have a brand, you have to tell what is the story, what is the backstage. I ask, so I work with clients, but it's the same for your own branding. It's like, take pictures of, I don't know, what you do, how you do it. It's like, what is the process? Because people don't want to only see the final product and have an AI saying this is the best on the market. They want to see how you do it. And I think doing that, it's just putting this human touch out there and showing like there are humans behind, because there are humans behind it always, he has to. So I think it's how you make the difference and how we're going to get out of using AI, but in a great way.
I never use AI as a replacement for me. It is just an enhancement to get my story out, my message out, my words, my like, and honestly, I couldn't do this without AI. So I don't think, as much as people are afraid that it's like inhuman, I actually find AI is making me more human, because I'm able to take off the load of the work and allow myself to do the actual fun parts and the connection parts. And I've experienced so many different conversations so far, and everyone's a new experience, and it's great. I just, AI's given me that ability. And I don't know if you know my channel, but I also do everything multilingually as well. So English is a hard enough language for me, and it's the only language I know. But now I get to converse with my own intentions, my own words, my own like little accent on the things across everybody. And I think we're coming to a point where we're going to start having, we're breaking down the communication barriers. And everybody just is saying the same thing. We want humans, we want stories, we want connection. So how would that look in terms of a brand? Like, how would a brand go and implement this?
Sure, that is. So I'm just going to bounce on that because I'm French, so English is my second language. So it's very interesting because, when you're in France, everything is in French. And I think there is a big barrier if you don't speak English to open to the world. And when your first language is not English and you have to learn it, it's even more complicated. So yeah, I really like what you say. You're right. It's going to really help creating more conversation and connection. Besides that, that's a really good point. I saw on your channel actually the various languages. I was like, this is so cool. Yeah, I went to the channel. So as a brand, how do you build your brand with the help of AI? Well, you can use simple tool. AI is everywhere, so I will say there are so many. I think I found a website that have 33,000 AI tools right now. So it's like it's getting crazy. So let's talk simple. First, you can use things like ChatGPT or Gemini to brainstorm. Um, Especially if you want to bring your brand, you're like, okay, I have an idea. Here's my idea. Can you help me build my brand? And it can help you finding names that will resonate to your audience. It can help you even generate a little logo. I have some clients who did that because, I don't have time. I can generate a small logo and it will look great. You can get help for the colors, the font, because what is very important is having consistency. So you have to build sort of a small brand kit. And if you're not a designer, if you don't have a background in design, it can be very difficult. Like, how do I choose colors? So you can choose one color you like, and then it will define other colors that goes well with that color, which is something you may not be able if you're not a designer. So ChatGPT and Gemini is capable to do that. And then you can go into Canva. And I was actually watching yesterday the new Canva like Uncharted like event. They do a big keynote, and they were talking about how they integrate AI into the Canva tool and how it helps people who don't have any background in design or who have a background in design and have creative ideas, but need just things done faster. Like me, I'm a designer, but I use Canva because I need things doing fast, and as much as I love Adobe and the Adobe suite, it takes so much time to do things there, and Canva is just quick, quick, quick. So I mean, AI doesn't replace the creativity, it just helps you. So I think using these big tools that are out there just for free or for little, like not much money, is great. So brainstorming, creating your brand kit, and then creating your social media post. I think, yeah, I will say if you're not started yet, ChatGPT, Gemini, and Canva are the best. After, if you have a specific needs like podcast, you can go into the specificity of what tool do I need for these needs. I know I don't remember the name, but I use a tool to cut videos automatically. You may use this type of, yeah, this one. So this one is great. I'm just starting to use it, and it's great because it's cutting, exactly, and then you can share on social media. So I think if you have a specific needs, you can go for this type of tools that are extremely specific. But yeah, I wouldn't go crazy. Like, I mean, you can try funny ones, but I'm very like, let's get it simple. Let's use what is really working really well. I know Perplexity is also good if you have some deep research to do on the internet, to give some big names.
Yeah, I'm actually like, I'm across the board. I just went ham and just bought a bunch of them just to test them out and see what they're like. There are so many out there, and they each have their own individual needs and their own individual like strengths and weaknesses. So right now, I really have to use multiple of them to do exactly what I want to do. But to your point, like, I'm not a visual person. Like, my fiance is actually the visual person of our company, because as long as it works, it's good for me. Yeah. So I'm actually going through branding without AI right now as well, and it's an interesting to see a human do it as opposed to the AI do it as well, because I'm going to be able to take that kit from the human and put it through AI and have that consistency across the board. But it's nice to have that little human ability, like that human aspect of it, especially with the world. I just want everybody to get along, you know?
Well, I mean, that's a great point, actually. So I use AI for the things I sort of have a little knowledge or a lot of knowledge about. So I'm not chatting with ChatGPT about something I really don't know. When I am very unknowledgeable about a subject, I will actually listen to a podcast, like this one. I will go read a book. I will go getting this human touch first, and then you're right, and then I will take what is from the human and put it in an AI. So I think you put a really good point here. If you're really not a designer, maybe having someone with a background in design who is maybe using AI tools helping you is great, because there are things that AI can be mistaken with. And it's very easy for me because I'm a designer. So I see it. I'm just like, well, what are you doing? And I just change it. But then if you don't have the background, you're not able to do that. So if you don't have the knowledge on a topic, get to the human first. And then when you get out things, you can transform it. And AI is great. And I like that you do that. You say that I'm getting my branding, then I put it out there and it will do everything. So basically having this very consistent base, it's really good for AI, because AI is not intelligent. It's actually very stupid. So you need to give him stuff. You need to give him like content, data. So once you have your brand, you tell him, hey, this is my branding. This is my name. This is my voice. This is how I want things to be done. And then he can help you write things. You cannot just say, hey, do it. If he doesn't know you, so he needs to get to know you, right?
I've been telling a lot of people that you really need to converse with it like a human. Like, you really need to like be specific. So as a developer, I'll put this into a developer context. When I'm searching for a problem that I have on some code base, I'm either searching a direct error or I'm searching for what I think is the failure. And then by each request, I'm learning about how I messed up that request, right? Like how my English wasn't formed correctly to have whatever I was trying to do understand what I was actually getting at. So speaking to the AI as like a human, it really is how we teach people. Like, they don't know everything. You have to give it the minute context. You got to give it the global context. and then pick out the correct words in order to get the right output. It's just so human for not being human. It's ridiculous.
I totally agree with that. It's a very human thing to just have to add context, and you do that for something that is not human, which is crazy, but you have to. It's a thing.
Is everything. Yep. So do you want to get into like what you would do for me as a branding exercise, so we can kind of showcase to our audience what that would look like?
We can do that. So if you want to brand your podcast, so the first step, and I think you talk about it, is just building the brand itself. What's the name, the tagline, the logo, what is your colors, the font you're going to use, your brand voice, getting this brand kit together. That's step one. It's not an easy step, but usually, and it is funny because usually people actually comes to me with that. So it is not something I do because usually people do that by themselves or with other tools. And so, I take that. I was like, okay, you have your branding, but this is not marketing. So now you have to market yourself. So first, what we're going to build, once you have I'm going to build a brand overview. So what are you trying to achieve? And then we're going to put more words above that because branding sometimes is very visual, which is great. But we want to put words. So what do you aim? What are your values? What are you trying to accomplish with your brand? So what your podcast, for example, what do you want this podcast for? And then we're going to, yeah, but what do you want
I'll
this
go
podcast
into, yeah.
for?
This podcast is actually, we kind of talked in it to bring back the humanity to the world, like the conversations, the understanding. People don't know all context. And I think that's something that's lacking on the internet now is people don't understand. Not everybody has context to everything that you're talking about. And so I'm hoping to like kind of highlight that by bringing my authenticity, my openness, my transparency to my audience to say, hey, like, I'm not smart. I'm just a guy stumbling along, but I'm letting you see my journey so that I can show you it's okay to stumble along. It's okay to be human and not worry about every word out of your mouth because it's at the end of the day, it's not a problem. It's only a problem when you make it a problem.
That's a great point. And I love that because you immediately share, who you are and your values. So that's the core of your brand too. It's like, who you are and what you try to achieve. So that's the first step. So the second step, because first step was the brand kit. So we went through. Now, who is your audience? Very, very important. Who you are trying to target. So we're going to build two types. The first type is the persona. So you can imagine someone. You can imagine a person. It has to be real. A persona has to be not a friend or someone you know. It has to be a fake person. Very important. Don't play with people you know doing marketing. And then from the persona, we build the ICP, the ICP is like ideal customer profile, which is a little bit bigger than a persona because persona is very defined. You have a name, job, title, stuff like this. An ICP is more like a range. Okay, people from 25 to 50, male and female, and neutral gender. It's like, but some people always target, only target one type or another. So it's important to define that. So let's go through this. What is your ideal, audience?
Ideal audience. So the audience I'm kind of going for is Canadians for right now. But I think it's more just people wanting to understand without the yelling, without the blame. Like I try and break things down without specifically naming out any person, party, or anything like that. Like I'm really just picking at the problem and trying to highlight it. So it's really just, I think, people trying to understand anything in Canada, right?
So for Canada, so that's very important that you say that because you're like, I'm targeting Canadian. So even if someone in the United States can listen to you, it's important that to define a target because your target is not limited. It's not like I'm targeting Canadians, so I don't want anybody or in another country listening to me. It's not, no, it's like I'm targeting Canadian. It's the audience I'm going to target. But if someone from another country listen to me, great. It's like, it's very important to understand that your audience is not limited, but you for your marketing, because it's going to be, it's going to be too much on your plate. So you have to limit. So you have to say, okay, I'm going to target Canadian. You can also maybe define a rate, like a range for the age. You can say, okay, I'm pretty young. I'm in my 30s, maybe, right? So I'm going to target. I mean, I'm 32. I'm 34. So it's like, I'm going to target people around my age, maybe a little younger, a little older. So it's important to have this idea also of age. Then I'm going to target maybe tech-savvy people, that are on the internet.
I'm actually targeting more younger male audience. I'm trying to establish myself as more of a role model. Because like I feel like it sounds really terrible. I don't mean to like say it this way, but like it's like men have hit a brick wall in terms of like getting help and understanding and just being able to speak. So I just want to like showcase that it's okay to talk about our feelings, be vulnerable, be human, and it doesn't stop us from being men, essentially. So I'm targeting like younger Canadians that just want to speak their truth.
Yes, I think that's a really good one because, and you define even more. So now what is important too is, okay, what do they gain from your podcast? And I think you already talked a little bit about it. And what are their frustration? So that's what you're trying to solve. And you already talked a little bit about it. So what are they gain and their frustration? I'm doing it live for you. It's a very hard exercise. So.
Oh no, this is perfect. Like even just this little snippet gives me ideas to run with. Like I love brainstorming. Brainstorming is my favorite thing to do because I just every time I talk to somebody, I have so many different ideas of what I can do, how I can do it, and I just take things away that I don't think anybody really notices. But yeah, like the end goal is just to showcase that our world is broken. We can fix it. It's just we need to stop yelling and hating on each other and listen to what the other has to say to get there. Like cooperation, communication, and understanding are the biggest foundations of anything, building anything.
So I think from what you say, is like the frustration is the people who think the same than you is like the people who think that, I'm frustrating because I think everything is broken. And actually they agree with you and they're like, I want to be, part of this because I agree with you. And it is funny too, because I'm going to move forward because we can talk about that for hours, but you have also two type of personas. You have the person that would listen to you and the person that was going to be part of your show. So also think about that. There are maybe two different type of people. And that's also important. Like who do you bring for who? Like who is listening and who do you bring? Then the next step, once you have that, we're going to create a marketing strategy. So the marketing strategy, I use UX marketing, which is a very specific things. And it's sort of I cannot really share visual right now, but it's a workflow. We have to think it like a flow because it's an experience. So if you did a lot of UX, you saw all this flow all the time from where the user come and where the user go. So if you imagine marketing as a flow, is like how the user get into the flow. How do they hear about you, like brand awareness, the very first time? Maybe they type a keyword on Spotify, and that's where they find you. Maybe they're on YouTube and they got a little like, oh, maybe you're going to like this YouTube video, and they click on it. So it's like the very important step is how do they enter the flow? And then as soon as they enter, how do you bring them to, for you, it's going to be, for example, subscribing. Because it's not because I watch one episode that I subscribe. So I may watch it and forget about it. And so I got in, got out. And it is okay. I got in, got out. And then maybe I got in again. But the goal of the flow is to bring the conversion. And the conversion is for you subscribing, either subscribing to the channels, either, for example, subscribing to a newsletter that you're going to share, information. Is like, so when you build this marketing, you have to think about what is your end goal, very technical end goal, like very, and marketing is very, it's, as a developer, it should be easy for you, but there is the broad ideas, and then there is like, how do I put things together in a very technical way? So very technical. Getting a subscriber on YouTube, for example. And then what is the journey for that? So the journey in nowadays, before it was really simple, the internet was really simple, so it was like, I watch the video, I subscribe. Now people are more picky. They are more like going around. there is automation everywhere, so they are very skeptical. And when you see a new person, that's not because, you're going to, some people will like it immediately and subscribe immediately. That's going to be a very easy, that's the easier path. Some other people will watch one of your show, will listen one of your podcasts, and then they will just like, okay, I like it, but I'm just sort of going away. And then they will come again and come again. And now you think about touch point. A touch point in marketing is every time you touch your audience. And that's when it's becoming complicated because you have social media. So I was already talking about YouTube, Spotify, your website. Maybe you're on LinkedIn. Maybe you're on Facebook. Maybe you're on Instagram. So it gets a lot. It gets a lot of touch point. And for each touch point, remember you have your branding. It's very important that there is a consistency because it's one side, and I'm going to talk about colors because it's really easy to understand. If I see blue, if I see red, if I see yellow, I will just like, is it the same guy? It's like, if everything changed too much, you're going to wonder if it's the same brand. But if there is consistency, and each time, for example, your profile picture is the same, I will say, oh yeah, it is the same person. So it will be easier after listening one of your show to go on your Facebook page and put a like because I already watched the show. So then when you have all these touch points, that's how you create a user experience. So that's what UX marketing is. And I know it's getting complicated at this point because you can imagine how much work and content creation it requires.
Yep.
So that's why we need AI. But that's basically what it is. And when I work with someone, we really map this to have an idea because, again, when you know marketing, that's why we do the ICP. You don't have to be everywhere. If you think Instagram is not the place where your audience is, don't go there. It's like, if you think that Twitter is dead, don't go there. It's like, really focus on where your audience is and where you can touch them. And sometimes it can be Reddit. It can be other channels that are not the main ones, but it makes more sense for what you do. So I'm going to let you on that. It's very, it's getting very broad, but that's sort of the next step.
Yep. I'm completely understand. I'm on everything, and managing everything at once is, thank God for automation, because there's no way I would be able to do it. But yeah, it's, oh boy. I assume you use something like Sprout Social or Social Bee or those kind of.
Well, it's my full-time job. So,
right.
it's my full-time job, but that's what the agency is doing. It's like I use automation, but I really put the human touch inside of it, and I work with every single client to build that flow. And that's why I'm saying you cannot be everywhere. Selecting is the best way to make it work. For example, I worked with clients and they are B2B, and we're just like, okay, you're B2B, LinkedIn, yes. Facebook, not that much. So really focusing on where your audience is how you make it work, because you're right. It's like, if you start to be on, I have one client I just put on Pinterest because it makes sense for them. I have another, it's a luxury brand of clothing. I think it will make sense for them. But if you do like podcasting, I was just like, don't go on Pinterest. It's like you will lose your time there. So really be mindful of your time and be mindful of the touch point, because the worst is like someone goes into a channel that is completely empty because you didn't have the time to do anything there. And this is that your last post is from, I don't know, 8 months ago. And they will say, okay, well, this person is maybe not, not doing this anymore. So it's better to have a few active channels than just getting, I'm everywhere and not. So
The only reason I actually went towards Facebook is that last interview with Mark Zuckerberg, where he says he's trying to build like Facebook content creators. So I'm looking to like just get in the door there. Basically, I keep a ear on the scene now and being like, okay, where can I jump in an opportunity here or there?
Great too, because you can run ads, really small, like Facebook ads, for cheap. So that's a good thing to be on Facebook for that.
So is there another step to this, or is like that the end?
So the step is to build the workflow. So the step is to build the flow, making sure you have all your and create all the channels. So as you say, I'm creating a Facebook page, I'm creating a Facebook YouTube channel, I'm creating a thing on Spotify. So that's sort of the step, building the flow. And as soon as we are done with that, the strategy is sort of done. So we're going to revise the strategy through time. But now what we need to do is basically ongoing marketing. So day-to-day marketing is about creating. So I do that month by month because I think it's easier. And things are changing so fast that it's hard to schedule so far in advance. So most of the time I do 2 weeks by 2 weeks or month by month. But for example, we are early April, and you can say, okay, what's going to be my focus of the month? What I'm going to talk about this month? That makes sense to my audience. And now you can play on, what is on the news, what is happening in the world, and now you can talk about more actual topics. And then you're going to build your marketing around that. And that will really help you. Because when you do social media posts, the problem is you don't want to fall into, hey, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do all the time. You want to talk about really things that your audience is interested in, and having specific topic of the month is really your day-to-day marketing. So I usually prepare, as I said, what's going to be, I usually do a meeting with a person. We talk at the beginning of the month and we say, okay, we have a full month of opportunity to share content and interest our audience, so they're going to subscribe with us. What are we going to share during that month? We'll look at the important dates. It can be also holidays, it's like what is happening. It can be events, social events. So you put a calendar in place. You say, okay, that's are my dates. Then you put your topics. That's a topic I want to talk about. And then you're going to build everything around that. And that's when you build your social media post, your videos, your podcast. If you record a lot of podcasts, I will advise maybe to do a small series. Okay, this series is talking about AI. And I have a small AI series with like 3 podcasts in a row with 3 people talking about AI. So I don't go, because the podcast is really easy to go everywhere. Like I'm talking about this, and then I'm talking about that, and then I'm talking about this, and then I'm talking about that. But your challenge is going to be to
Just
find a focus, to find people like guests in this focus, and to start to have mini series. And I think that can be very interesting if you keep a topic and you talk only about this topic, maybe for 3 or 4 podcasts, and then you move to another topic. Um, and it is going to be your months. So I think it's where it's getting complicated. It's why they hire an agency. It's why they hire a consultant or someone to do marketing with them. But as a personal person, your own brand, you can start thinking month by month. It is the easiest way. What's going to be my topic this month? What's going to be my focus? Related to what's happening. Does it make sense? It's getting complicated. I'm sorry.
no. It completely makes sense to me. My audience, I can't talk to them, but talk for them. I can talk to them, but it's definitely given me a lot of insight into what to do next. Like this month's kind of a write off because of everything that's going on in Canada, but I really want to get into focusing on specific industries, specific businesses in the future too. So I'm now like thinking how to maybe do like blitz months or something like that on certain topics. So like even just that was so helpful. Let's get into like a little bit more personal, if that's okay. So you're from France. Why did you decide to move to the US?
That's a really good question. Well, I may not have done this decision like today, but 6 years ago. So yeah, well, it was a personal event that happened. I divorced, which is, it happens. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna restart. What can I do? So I decided to move to the US because I always sort of wanted to be bilingual. I don't know. I wanted to learn English. I had been to the US one time before, and I was part of a cosplay group, and I met someone, and it was like, okay, well, you can. Here it's. I discovered the United States in the eyes of someone who was inside the States, and I was just like, it looks very different than what I see on TV. I'm curious now, so I choose the Washington D.C. area, which is, I don't know if you've ever been to DC, but it's very different than New York, for example. It's much more like actual city-like. The scale is much better for me. Regular scale, no big buildings. Everything is like beside the Washington monuments. It's like everything is below the Washington monuments.
See your trees and houses. So
Well, so that's the thing. It's like now I live Northern Virginia, so slowly I went away from DC, but it's still the city. But that's where I arrive here. I was just like I arrive as a student. Uh, I didn't know if I would stay like or not, but then COVID happens and I had to make a choice. I was just like, okay, do I stay or do I leave? Because we couldn't, if I had left at this point, I wouldn't have been able to come back. So I decided to stay, finish my studies. And then I got one job, a second, and it just life went on. And I really enjoyed this area. It's Northern Virginia is really a hub for technology and business owners. I had a company in France and I was living in the countryside and it was really hard to build my business in there. So being in a hub where a lot of business owners and leaders and CEOs and CXOs are is actually really good for me. Also high speed internet. So, it's like this area is really good. So that's why I decided to stay and I happen to love it here. So yeah, that's
Realize you
funny
were a
story.
cosplayer.
Yeah,
um,
well, no, no, no. I just, yeah. What you say about cosplay? Yeah, I was doing
I that surprised me. I'm surprised that you do cosplay. It's something that's big, but it still gets me when I hear like somebody does it because I've been cosplaying since 2005. Um, I'm
was
not
part of
good.
the Mandalorian. No, no, no. I was part of the Mandalorian merc, so I did Mandalorian cosplay, and now I'm part of a much bigger group. So we don't do only Star Wars. We do like just everything you want. And this is actually really good because we have this big convention, uh, like AwesomeCon and OtaCon, and we have a convention every 3 months. So I'm not complaining. So that's why also DC is like it's a really big hub for cosplayers.
I moved away from Toronto where we had our big one, but I kind of grew out of it. I think like I like to do it, but it's now more for me than for everybody else. If that makes any sense. Um, I just lost my train of thought. So are you? So Star Wars, like, are you a big Star Wars fan? Geek? Like, what type of geek are you?
I'm a geek. I am. This is a great question. I'm a very high level geek. So, I was more into Mandalorian, really like, but the Jango Fett like series, not the Mandalorian that was on TV. That was after. So I was a very like early fan of all the Mandalorian, like the books, the Republic Commando books, Republic Commando series, and stuff like this. So that's part of the nerd things I do, and the other part of nerd things I do, and I got into it through cosplay, actually meeting people. I do sword fighting now, so I'm part of HEMA historical, like so HEMA is historical European martial arts, and it's all about sword fighting, but it's historical sword fighting. So it's like fencing, but not exactly how you see on TV. And I'm part of two groups. One of the groups we do, like I would say, modern version of that, and another group we do the medieval version of that. So we wear medieval like clothing and stuff. So it's a little bit like cosplay, but also we are fighting. So that's how big of a nerd I am.
No, it sounds great. Like, cause I grew up on anime, a big sci-fi horror. Like, I'm across the board. I love everything. A video game. Not that I have much time being an adult to do much of it, but hopefully now with the new job as a content creator, I have more time to really flush that out and play with it. And I'm going to integrate it in my channel eventually too, because a geek is a geek to me is the ones that change the world. They're the ones that really, yeah.
There's a song for that.
Is there?
Yeah, yeah, the geeks are gonna change the words. It is a song. I need to find it. I will send to you.
That sounds good. I'll add it in the channel notes. But yeah, like to me, geekdom has always given me that freedom, that limitlessness that you have or that you get outside of yourself. So it's always, and I'm so proud of how it breaks down the barriers of like everything, sex, religion, across the board. It's just like, I don't care. We're just going to talk about it anyways, because this is what I think would be good. And it's nice to see positivity and fun stuff. I think I'm out of questions for today. Is there anything you would like to bring up before we end the show?
I think we did a lot already. We talk a lot about UX marketing, what it is. We implemented like live with you, so I hope it helps you a little. We did a full branding with your new channels, and again, the only thing I would say is like that was a great example because we did it for you as a podcaster. Um, I have clients who are working for the US. I mean, I work for people PCSing in the US military. I was talking about the luxury clothing brand. I have clients who are lung doctors and who have a clinic. So it's really working for everybody. So that's what is important, I think, saying about UX marketing is not for only one type of people. UX marketing is more an idea of the user journey into marketing, and it works really for everyone. Um, so that will be, I think, my end word is like really don't think about, okay, I'm doing, I have a book, maybe it won't work for me. No, if you have a book, you can still use it because it's about it's about focusing your marketing on users and being user driven, user centric, using data. So you can do that for everything, every topic, every industry.
Switch on the top down approach and giving a bottom up approach for now for once. Right? All right.
Sure. So yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I think that's what's it. That's what's my ending, I think.
All right.
So